Darrell Coleman, Agape Force, number 89. I got some questions. I need answers. So I got Donnery Evans of the Perth Panthers on the phone. Donnery.
Yeah, hi.
Darrell Coleman, Agape Force.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. So I just got some quick questions for you.
Okay.
Your team's a really good team. And you've had a good season. You have a lot of talented players. Arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the league. How do you plan on winning this game on Sunday?
Well, we have certain strategies that we have so far at hand that we're practicing. Practice is essential. So we're going over certain key issues that we have, little nits that we've been working on. And with practice, we will win.
Okay. So you're playing Toronto West. You played them before, yes?
Yes, we did.
Okay. And what do you think they're really good at?
I think they're really good at understanding teams and working just towards that team. Can't even say. Yeah, it's just the fact that they study each team and their strategy work.
Do you think they're a better team than you guys?
No.
Okay, so you think Sunday you guys are going to get the win?
I think Sunday for sure we're going to win.
Is there anyone on Toronto West that you're worried about?
Repeat that, sorry?
Is there anyone on Toronto West that you're concerned about, that you guys have said, we have to stop this guy or we have to stop this girl?
No, really our loss with Toronto West was more of a mental loss altogether, a team thing. It was never that they were better. It was just us on a whole. We weren't put together. We didn't have practice. And I find when we don't have practice, we kind of fall apart.
Okay. Well, Donnery, you've been great. That's all the questions I have for you. Actually, I have one more question.
Go ahead.
Providing that you win on Sunday, you go to the championship. You're going to play either Toronto East or Apple Creek. Who would you prefer to play?
I would love to play Apple Creek.
Love.
Even being about 2 years ago, I don't know if you were at the game, we kind of lost really, really bad. It was like 40 plus to 0.
Was it? Was I at that game?
Maybe you were.
I don't know.
I can't remember much. It's
Such
been
a
a blur since then.
Yeah.
But I think revenge is sweet, and I'd love to play them. To open this season, actually, they beat us, and it was kind of a reminder of 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd love to play Toronto.
Apple
What's the team called?
Apple Creek.
Apple Creek.
I mean, the name's not important. I mean, what you're saying is they've been watching you guys for about 2-3 years now.
Yep.
And if you guys get to the finals, it's payback time.
It is payback time. I really would love to play them.
Love is a strong word, Donnery.
I'd love to play them.
Okay. So for the record, if you win on Sunday, you would love to play Apple Creek in the finals.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Donnery.
All right, no problem.
Have a good evening.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye. You heard it here first, folks. I got Sheldon James from the Toronto West. What are you guys now? The Tigers, the Saints?
We're now the Saints. I think we've gone back to our roots. So,
the Saints.
We're back being the Saints now. The Tigers are just an experiment.
I got Sheldon James from the Saints on the line here. Sheldon, how you doing this evening?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. So, Sheldon, I'm going to ask you what everyone wants to know. How has Toronto West come in the league, their first year? And you lost 2 games. We'll leave it at that. You lost 2 games. One of them, we'll leave it alone. You lost 2 games this year. Second best record in the league. How have you been so successful?
It's a good question. I think the answer is threefold. First of all, we have a lot of ballers on the team. We have a lot of veteran guys. Talking about Frankie and Royce and James, who predate my existence before I was even born playing football.
The early 1800s.
Sorry.
The early 1800s.
Early 1800s, the pre-Ellen G. White days. You also got myself, Darnell, Matthew. We're a close-knit group who's played together a lot.
Right.
Our quarterback, we've all played. So, football is nothing that is foreign to us. It's something we've been playing since we were young. So that's the first answer. Second is on organization, man. I was on the sidelines of another squad this weekend. And it was very helter-skelter on the sidelines. I really took it for granted how organized our team was, even in our first year. Again, we had the leadership of Wilson James, Frankie, Norman Brown was out there earlier in the season. So just very good organization. And then lastly, it sounds funny, but Darnell James, my brother, he's having an MVP-like season, man. He's out there making plays that defy all sorts of logic. And when you put all three of those together, the leadership, the experience, and the playmaking ability, that's why I've been so successful, I think.
Well, I know a lot of people in the league, and they've been asking me. Some people have been calling him Darrell James. Some people have been saying, like, who's that guy, the tall guy? Not the taller one, the other tall one. There's been a lot of questions about Darnell James and how to slow him down. I know you can't give advice as to how to slow him down, so I'll speak on your behalf and say, with Darnell James, you just gotta let it go. He's gonna make some plays that don't make any sense, even when you play good defense, but you just gotta live with it and move on. Don't take it personal.
Yeah, and that's the key. I mean, I wouldn't want to give advice to a team to stop us, but that's what it is. It's. I mean, they tried everything on Sunday. They put Carl on him, who, in my opinion, is probably the best defender in the entire league. And he was on his hip. He was all over him. He did everything he could.
Right.
And that's the tough part about it, is realizing that you can play stellar, phenomenal, amazing defense, and it might not matter. I think that's the scariest part about our team, is that we have Darnell, I mean, definitely as one of those people, but a couple of other guys that you can play great defense, you can be on us, and we're going to find a way to make a play, and that's the scary part about it. I think that gives us an edge that no other team really has.
Exactly. And I'm also going to ask you how you feel about the league on a whole. This is a pretty general question. Just how do you feel about, your team joining the league? What's some feedback from Toronto West?
Honestly, I was talking to someone on the weekend about that, and to be honest, it's been a pleasant experience. It's been a pleasant surprise, I should say. When I first we were talking about joining the league, the DFL was really an afterthought. We play in pretty highly competitive leagues around the city, and that was obviously our priority. And going into the DFL was always just exercise, whatever, for our church. But having played in it now, there's definitely it's been a great experience throughout in terms of camaraderie. Some of the girls in our church who have been away for a while, we've sort of brought them back in the fold and got to see them on a week-to-week basis. It's a great ministry tool. There's about at least two non-Adventists on our team who have been able to come to church as a result of just strictly football. I mean, there was no other way we would have been able to get them in other than football. And then also the whole idea of just playing your friends. I mean, you and I have been playing in the backyard since we were younger. Joel Knight is another one of our friends. Leon Smith. It just goes on and on. Carl Brown. And so just being able to play against your friends, it's a different type of dynamic than always playing with them. So I think all those things considered, it's been a pleasant experience going into the DFL. I'm glad we did it, and I'm glad that we got it together and got a team out this season.
And with the playoffs coming up, the DFL is feeling like the NFL in the sense that because we're kind of close, because we all kind of know each other, like you said, we've played together. We played with Joel Knight from Apple Creek. We played with Carl Brown from Mount Olive. We played with Leon Perry from Perth. Who am I missing?
Jason, who's away. Derek Smith from, all these guys.
Yeah, so it is personal. Now you're playing Perth. You're playing Leon. He's your former quarterback. How do you plan on winning the game on Sunday?
Man, Perth is tough, man. I said way back in the season, when we played them, that's the toughest team in the league offensively. I think they have some issues on defense. I think offensively they pose some problems that not many other teams, with the exception, not very many other teams really pose in terms of triple or quadruple threats. You got Leon, who is a triple threat in himself in terms of running, throwing, and agility. You got Nathaniel, who is a football player, so he's always a problem. I think he leads the league in touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken, or he's way up there. They got a girl who's a monster at the wide receiver position who can do a lot of things. I think she threw a touchdown pass in our game, so she can do a lot of things. So I think that they pose a lot of problems. They have our defensive coordinators up late at night trying to script plan for them. So I think, for those reasons, they're a very dangerous team.
And okay, let's assume you guys win on Sunday. You're gonna play against Toronto East or Apple Creek. If you could choose right now who you could play in the finals, who would it be? Toronto East or Apple Creek?
It's fun. I was talking about this as well this weekend. It's funny because, like I said, for the whole nostalgia, smack talk, wanting to play against your buddies, sort of feel. I guess the pick would be Apple Creek. Nothing would be better for me than to shut Joel Knight up. He wasn't there. He conveniently was absent when they played us in the regular season, so he figures that's the reason why they lost. But I just know so many people from that team. It's ridiculous. So the personal aspect of that game is intriguing. I also think they're a better team. I mean, I'm not kind of smack talk. I'm just throwing it out there. I think for the exact same reason why Perth poses problems, they pose a lot of matchup and I think there's matchup problems, and I think they're one of the more talented teams out there, if not the most talented team. So for that reason, I guess I would say them. But the lingering thing, at the back of my mind is this whole, Toronto East. They're the champs from last year. They also beat us in the regular season, the first game that we played. And, they'll have their story and we'll have our story. And let's just say we felt that we let that one get away. So, you know how it goes. Sometimes you win a championship, and then there's the one team that beat you in League One will be like, "Oh, we're the only ones who beat the champs," right? So it's almost like that sort of. Well, let's just get this out of the way. Let's let everybody see that it was an illusion and an aberration, and So for that reason, I think in my gut, I'd like to say it's Toronto East, but it's a tough one, man. I'm looking forward to any one of them, and they're going to pose their own set of problems, and we'll be ready.
It's interesting because I don't play favorites, but I happen to know, like you said, because we played together. I know a lot of guys on the West team. I know what they're capable of, and I've been preaching to people to respect Toronto West, even though they're a new team. They're not going to struggle with the speed of the game or the style. And it seems like a lot of people have underestimated you guys, but I think in that first game, you guys made a very clear statement, playing against the best team in Toronto East. I mean, they finished with the best record, so I'll say they're the best team. And they will be tough to beat. Going forward, though, Apple Creek East, going to be a really good game. Toronto West, Perth, going to be a really good game. And if you could pick one player right now in the league, you've played against everybody. Well, almost everybody. But if you could pick one player in the league right now, you have one pick. This is your franchise player. Who are you picking and why?
The beauty of it is that I don't have to go any further than my own backyard, and it's going to be Darnell James. For the reason I mentioned before, and you could, it's incredible to see because, as you say, we all grew up. I grew up, switching the ball to him in the backyard, whatever the case may be. And I mean, it's clearly he is head and shoulders this season's MVP, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And also in terms of just devastation on a game. And, you know, other teams, like you said, we're sort of flying under the radar, thankfully. And it's like a lot of teams don't see it. But I don't think there's a game plan for him. I'm going to be quite honest. At least not in the way DFL is set up. I really don't know how I wouldn't want to have the game plan for him. In terms of how much resources you'd have to put towards stopping him. And then again, I think it was Apple Creek we played where he carded on 4 guys. So what are you going to do? You dedicated 4 defenders to him. You knew it was coming to him and you couldn't stop it. So that would be my first pick. He plays both ways. He's a leader on the field. He's unfazed by anything you're going to throw at him, literally. So that would be my first pick, and then it would be me and him, and I guess that would be the exact same recipe we have right now.
So you heard it here first. Toronto West has a lot of good things to say about the league. Darnell James is a problem. Thankfully, he's on the Young Bucks team, going into the playoffs and hopefully the championship this weekend too. All the best, Sheldon.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.